Hey guys, Johnny here, and fuck GamerGate. Oh my god, fuck GamerGate. I'm so desperately sick of dealing with this on the internet every fucking day.
So Johnny, you're finally picking a side in the whole GamerGate debacle?
I picked a side ages ago, my friend.
Well then, Johnny, surely we must hear it. Which side have you picked?
Well, you see, the pro side is populated by a bunch of hate-filled lunatics, and the anti-side is also kind of populated by a bunch of hate-filled lunatics.
But Johnny, it's a two-party system. Surely you're not going to vote for a third party?
Well, here's the thing. When I take a step back and I look at both sides, I just see a bunch of people being shitty to each other.
Oh, but Johnny, haven't you heard? One side is clearly being far more shitty than the other.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that. Regardless of which side you talk to, they're gonna say the other side is being the most shitty.
So you're telling me that you don't agree with the actions of either party? Scoff. Such a thing is highly irregular.
If I have to fall face first into a pile of dog shit, and I got a large pile and a small pile, even if I choose the small pile, I'm still gonna end up getting shit on my face.
Johnny, it almost sounds like you're discussing the movie The Sum of All Fears, where the only way to win the game is to decide to not play it at all.
That's the first intelligent thing you've said yet, weird British version of myself that I'm using for this video.
I have friends on both sides of the whole GamerGate debacle. Multiple strongly opinionated, sort of activist-type friends who I talk to regularly, and I get to see the sorts of things they post, and the sorts of things they say, and the discussions they have, and the topics that are important to them. And you know what I see from both sides? You know what both sides have in common? They choose to look at things that just make them angry at people. They're spending their free time looking through articles and Twitter posts and finding things to just get upset over. And I'm sure a lot of these things that people see just sort of pop up in their daily internet rummagings are sort of hard to avoid sometimes. I know for me personally they can be very hard to avoid. But what I see is a decision on both sides to engage these comments. Now I get it, all right? I'm not a fucking machine or robot. Like, I get it. When I am surfing the internet and I see somebody say something that, let's say, is contrary to a political ideology I hold or some sort of belief, and I see somebody say something in opposition to it, oftentimes it can make my blood boil. And I'll sit there thinking like, what the fucking ignorance of this fucking person, you know, and I want to type up this angry message or try to correct them or something like that. I sit there thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm right and this person is wrong and I need to show that person that they're wrong, and anyone watching, they need to know that this person is wrong so that wrongness doesn't spread. And you get twisted up inside, you get filled with all this kind of negative, angsty, convoluted energy, and then what do? You take that and you spew it right back out. You make an angry Twitter post, you make a YouTube video, you make some sort of meme, you post it there and you say, look, these people are dumb and I'm not. I see both sides doing that equally. Here's what will always happen in any sort of discussion or conflict or conversation when one party believes themselves to be exclusively right and the other side in the wrong. It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be an angry fight. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I get angry and upset at things, I don't feel good. I feel fucking bad. And I'm speaking from experience here, guys, because I spent years of my life arguing and fighting with people on the internet. I did that for hours every day for years. It was what I did. Call it being a troll or a pseudo-intellectual, or maybe I just like to hear myself talk. But I did it for years, and it never made me feel good. I was just going around the same fucking circle, chasing my goddamn tail the entire time. And I didn't change the way anyone thinks. I didn't change anyone's lives. I didn't grow as a person. I didn't help anybody grow. I just followed that kind of roller coaster up and down balance of like, this person says something I don't like, so I'm gonna shit on them. They're gonna shit on me, and then it just that big shitty fucking cycle. Now I get it, okay? To you people of the anti-GG side, I get it. The opposing side has been doing some pretty fucking terrible things. Making death threats, harassing people, calling them up, doxing, trying to get them fired from work. All of that is fucking shitty behavior. And to you people on the pro-GG side in support of it, I get that too. Some of you are legitimately concerned about some sort of journalistic integrity. I'm sure a lot of you feel that one of your favorite hobbies is under attack. And I'm sure you can recognize the fact that the other side is saying some things which I personally feel are rather short-sighted, ignorant statements at times. And that upsets you. And you don't want that to spread. You don't want what you perceive to be a toxic mentality to spread around and grow and thrive. I understand that. But now we've gotten to this point where it's just this stupid, shitty fucking war. A year ago, this didn't fucking exist, or has it been a year now? I don't know. All I know is like a year or two ago, I didn't see this fucking shit pop up on my Facebook feed every goddamn day. A year ago, this conflict and anger and threats and all this fucking violent garbage wasn't there, at least not in the form it is now. Now, I'm sure both of you sides would say to yourselves, well, just if they weren't there or if they didn't behave like this, then none of this would happen. Here's the reality of the situation though. They are there. There is no fantasizing about whether or not they are there. They are there. And there's no realistic fantasizing about what a magical place the world would be if they were just to disappear. It's not gonna happen. So here's the only option left to us. How do we react? Let's say I see a picture pop up on my Facebook feed that shows a picture of a woman kicking a man in the balls, and it says, male gamers are sexist, misogynist bigots who should be destroyed. Clearly, as a male gamer myself, I'd be highly offended by that, and I'd think to myself, what the fuck? That's not true. I don't want to be destroyed. I like me. I have a choice then. I have a choice in how to react to that, or if I should react at all. If I choose to post a comment under that picture saying, you're a fucking idiot, where do you think that's going to lead? Let me break it down for you exactly what happens in that circumstance. I see an image, it makes me feel bad inside. I want to get that bad feeling out, I want to stop feeling that bad feeling, so I project that bad feeling into a comment. And I feel a little bit sense of relief, I feel a little bit of validation, vindication. And then somebody with an opposing viewpoint responds, reflecting that shitty attitude that I just typed into the comments. And then I respond to that with more shit, and more shit, and more shit. It's the fucking shit cycle again. Let me give you guys some other options of how you could respond to something like that. First off, you could choose to ignore it. That is a choice. It's a fairly difficult one to make. It took me years and years to, I guess, get to the point where I feel I could actually ignore things like that. But here I am. I try to do it. I try to, you know, block and unfollow and unsubscribe from things that make me upset. And this isn't me trying to pretend that a problem doesn't exist. This is me trying to manage my own emotions in a way that I will be level-headed and clear thinking when I want to respond to an issue. If I'm filled with turmoil and anger inside when I go to respond to something, I'm gonna respond in a tumultuous, angry way. And then the shit cycle starts. Another way you can choose to respond is without antagonism. If something really upsets you, you could calmly explain why. I don't feel that this picture is very fair, and here are the reasons. You know, it upsets me, and this, you know, hurts me to see. You can take a non-defensive but very calm, level-headed, rational way of explaining yourself in a way that you don't insult people. You simply share with them. You say, this is how this makes me feel, and you put that out there. Now, I'm sure 9 times out of 10, the response you're gonna get back is still gonna be like, well, fuck you, faggot! And that's where the test lies. Are you gonna reflect that back? Are you gonna share how you actually feel about this in a very mature adult manner? And then after you're called a faggot, are you gonna fire right back with, no, you're the faggot? That's usually a sign to me when it's time to walk away. Because I found that with some people, you can have a perfectly reasonable discussion. A discussion where you're sharing, you're exchanging information, ideas. Versus an argument where one side believes they're 100% right, so does the other side, neither is backing down, and you just fight. And you never feel good at the end of it. I think it's important for us to learn when to walk away from a conversation, to be able to identify when a conversation is turning into an argument and simply walk away. Because an argument is pointless. An argument is basically like saying, I want to put my energy and effort towards feeling bad. Because nobody ever wins an argument. You never actually win an argument. You never actually change anyone's mind with an argument. What happens is the person either gives up or walks away or continues on ad infinitum, or maybe some friends gather to, you know, back them up and gang up on you, and then you get, you know, tired of it and walk away, you feel defeated. But nobody changes their mind, nobody changes the way they think. There's absolutely no growth that ever takes place in an argument. Both parties, both sides, both people leave an argument thinking the exact same way they did before, and just being a little more upset and angry with the other side than they were before. Another thing I want to touch on is the fact that I see people just mocking the other side all the time. You know, making fun, making humor, making comedy. I get it, right? Sometimes it's a little bit fun to poke at somebody who takes themselves a little bit too seriously. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with a bit of satire, a bit of like harmless satire, but it's about your intentions, you know? If your intention is to say like, hey, look, this person's a fucking retard, that's obviously a poor intention. That will just breed more negativity. If your intention is to maybe take somebody down a peg a little bit, bring them down a little bit, bring them off their high horse, bring them off their high stool or what have you, and then still greet that person as a friend and be like, hey, you know, I'm I'm just poking fun at you. I think you take yourself a little too seriously sometimes. You know, I don't hate you or anything, and I'll still treat you well, but, you know, that thing you said, I mean, here's a satirical way of how I think it sounds to me. You know, if your intention is to actually be satirical in order to help the person you're satirizing, that's complete different action than what you were doing before. It all comes down to your intention. And unfortunately, I feel that the vast majority of either side who is mocking the other through satire has no intention of understanding the other side or helping them in any way. Here's what happens when you openly mock somebody. You're basically saying that it's okay for people to mock each other. Then when somebody mocks you, you really can't in good conscience be upset, because in your action of mocking them, you've said, this is how I act. I'm okay with acting like this. This is okay behavior. And then if you in turn get mocked back and you're like, how dare they? It's a little hypocritical. It's a little bit hypocritical. You know how the whole GamerGate thing is gonna end? The only way we're actually gonna end it is if both sides, on an individual basis, just get fucking fed up with it and start thinking to themselves, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? Fuck this. I have no interest in this anymore. I'm done. I'm not fucking posting on Twitter about it. I'm not sharing these fucking memes. I'm gonna hang out with my friends. I'm gonna hang out with people I like. I'm gonna play video games I like. So here's the thing. You can never actually defeat a way people think. You can't change and end in any race and eradicate the way people think. If one side finally defeats the other and they back down, all those people are still left thinking the exact same way. And sooner or later, it's gonna come back around to the same old tired fucking shit. A bunch of people are gonna eventually regroup, gather up, and just start it all over again. Because nobody's changed the way they think. To any of you out there who have siblings, you'll understand what I'm about to say here. I got 3 younger brothers, and we used to fight all the time. We're pretty close in age, so our fights would get pretty brutal. Other times, we'd be playing happily, and we'd be getting along. Looking back on it, the funnest times were the times when we were playing Nintendo together and baseball in the yard and jumping on the trampoline practicing wrestling moves with pillows and stuffed animals and oftentimes on each other and getting perfectly hurt and trying to hide our injuries from our mom. But the times we were fighting, I don't have fond memories of those. But the thing is, we had to live in the same house. We had to live in the same house. We had no option of going anywhere else and starting our own little separate societies from one another. We had to find a way to get along with each other. And it's no different here on our Earth. You anti-GamerGaters, you don't have the option to fly up to the moon and start your own little utopia. You pro-GamerGaters, you don't have the option to go into an underground bunker and start a perfect hippie commune in some missile silo somewhere. We're stuck here together, and we're failing the fucking test of learning how to get along with our goddamn little brother. Now, some people are going to sit here and say, well, Johnny, conflict is simply in human nature. We're too different. There's no way we can always get along. We'll always have conflict. No, I don't believe that. Because all those little brothers that I used to fight with, I don't fight with anymore. We never fight. We get along fucking fantastically. Now guys, again, I've said this many times in videos, but I'm nothing special. I like to play Street Fighter 2, I started painting recently, I spend way too much time on fucking Facebook. I enjoy a decent beer often. I enjoy inhaling delicious cinnamon-flavored nicotine from fancy futuristic e-cigarettes. I work at a restaurant. I live in a tiny one-bedroom apartment with a cat and a bird. I got a video game collection. I need to vacuum. I'm just a very, just kind of regular lifestyle living guy. But I've somehow managed to learn a wonderful truth in life that I've been trying to put into practice. And that is being able to treat people well if they think differently from you. And this is how I'm able to have and maintain friendships on Facebook with people who are on opposing sides of the whole GamerGate issue. I can have somebody who is my friend who I disagree with and be able to engage in conversation with them instead of arguments. Because you know what? I don't have to be right. And if somebody is watching this video right now and you want to completely pick it apart and be like, well, Johnny, here's where you're wrong, and you know, maybe you're gonna have some really good points where you'll be like, well, shit, I can't really argue with that. I've tried to separate myself from having to cling to always being right about things, because I've come to the realization that I have a very limited capacity to be right about pretty much anything. I've been on this planet for 32 cycles around the sun, and this planet has been here for billions and billions, and I have this small little body with a limited cranial capacity. There's very little information I can truly absorb and process about the world and society and the universe in my very short lifespan. And I think that it's naive and dangerous for me to arrive at a conclusion and hold to it as it was some sort of divine, God-given truth. And that goes for everything that I've said in this video as well. But it comes back to sharing. I'm just sharing how I see things. I have no interest in arguing with people. I just want to share. And I'd like to share with you the fact that you do have the ability and the choice to treat people well and be civil and have conversations and not arguments with people who are on an almost polar opposite of you. It's difficult and tricky to do sometimes. Emotions are a very powerful thing inside us. And when people say things that make you angry and upset, those emotions can very quickly take over. But it's important for us to look inside ourselves and begin to recognize that process, to begin to understand what sets it off, what causes it, how it makes you feel, and how it affects the way you treat people. Because once you begin to examine that, once you begin to understand it, you gain a little more mastery and control of it. You can kind of realize, oh shit, I was getting really upset there for a second. I just about entered a comment to somebody that would have just shit all over them. You can kind of catch yourself. You can step back. You can tell your emotion to just cool off for a minute. You can look at things a little more clearly. Because frankly, I don't think anybody from either side of the GamerGate issue would disagree with the statement that I would like it to be over. The problem is each side wants it to be over in their own way. You know how it's going to be over? Is if each side kind of comes to a compromise and decides, well, you know, I guess this is going to continue on forever. What the fuck are we going to do now? I guess we're going to have to think of something new that we weren't thinking about before. Maybe we're going to have to just agree to disagree, you know, take into consideration other people's feelings, even if we feel that they're inhuman monsters with no souls who are beyond any sort of help or redemption. I don't believe pro-GamerGaters are human monsters who lack souls and are without any redemption. And I don't believe anti-GamerGaters are like that at all. I believe that we're all people with very strong emotions trying to make sense of this fucked up planet we're on. Here's my challenge to anybody watching, and this is going to both the anti-GG side and the pro-GG side. The next time you see something on Twitter or Facebook or on a gaming news site or an article or an email or a meme or anything like that that makes you feel upset and angry at what the other side is saying or doing, catch yourself in that moment. Catch yourself. Look inside yourself and look at what that feeling is about to do or what it would do. Like, take a magnifying glass inside your fucking heart or your melon heart or your fucking soul or body or chest. You know that part in here that kind of feels stuff? You guys know what I'm talking about. Catch yourself and take a step back, have a bit of a quiet moment with yourself and look down and pay attention to what that feeling is doing. Try to understand what that feeling is doing and try to imagine what that feeling is going to do if you allow it to stay there. And try to recognize whether or not you have the choice to act upon that feeling or simply let go of it. Because I guarantee you, it might be hard, it might be really hard sometimes, but I guarantee you, you will be surprised at the fact that sometimes you are able to let go of that. To just let go of it. To drop it like you are dropping a pencil. And that right there, I consider to be one of the first steps to ending this fucking relentless conflict, because it's just getting worse and worse. It's just getting more and more magnified. And it's gonna keep on doing that until we all start taking a bit of a step back, recognizing what that emotion is and what it's going to do, and choosing to let go of it. Because acting on a negative emotion doesn't make that feeling go away. It makes it feel like it goes away for a little bit, right up until the point that the person you just left a shitty comment to comments back. And then boom, feeling right back there, and now it's bigger than ever. And guys, I'm not saying don't stand up for something you believe to be right. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that there's a third option. You can stand up for what you believe to be right in a way that doesn't cause needless conflict, in a way that promotes conversation instead of an argument. And you can choose to walk away from a conversation when it becomes an argument and not feed the shit cycle. And trust me, if you actually try to do this, if you actually try to walk away from those feelings, you're gonna fail a couple of times. I guarantee you 100%. Even if you put your full maximum effort and energy into trying to apply that to your life, you are guaranteed to fail a minimum of one time. And you're pretty much guaranteed to succeed at least one time as well, if you really decide to. And that's what it all comes down to, choice. It's a free will universe, fellas. We have choice. Our choices create our future. Cats. Oh, just always a cat. There's always a cat around. He just wants to... He's not really happy unless he's on my lap. I'm Johnny Old School, and if you disagree with every single thing I said in this video and think I'm a retarded faggot, I'm gonna make the choice to still realize that you are a human being just like me, with hopes and dreams and fears and desires and pleasures and pains. And I'm gonna try to just understand that and not fight with you, because I'm sick of the fighting. And you probably are too. Probably are too. If you liked this video and want to see more, then please share it and subscribe to my new YouTube channel, 3rdVoice. I'm not trying to get rich and famous, so I won't be monetizing any of the videos there. I just want to share ideas, and ideas should always be free.